Most people believe they live in a free market with endless consumer choices. You pick your airline, your grocery store, your streaming service, and your bank. The reality is an engineered illusion. Behind almost every major company on Earth sits a silent, hyper-concentrated hierarchy of asset managers controlling over $10 trillion. One microscopic mistake in risk calculation at the top, and entire economies crash overnight. Here is the raw truth about the hierarchy behind the invisible monopolies. You start at the absolute bottom, rank 0, the junior risk analyst. You do not manage billions. You drown in raw financial data. You spend 16-hour shifts inside freezing basement cubicles, auditing endless compliance spreadsheets, and running overnight stress tests. You type until your fingers lock up, absorbing toxic levels of screen glare while monitoring market algorithms. The physical and mental filter at this entry level is unforgiving. A single misplaced decimal point or failed risk audit can wipe out millions of dollars before market close and get you blacklisted from the financial industry forever. You earn $20 to $30 an hour, trading your sleep and physical health for a chance to survive the first 6 months. Over 85% of entry-level analysts quit or burn out within their first 90 days. The pressure isn't theoretical. It is an unrelenting grind of 80-hour work weeks where human exhaustion collides with automated machine execution. Those who survive don't just know numbers. They learn how to operate under extreme panic. If your track record remains completely spotless, you graduate to rank 1, the sector portfolio manager. You leave the basement cubicles behind and step onto the trading floor. You are no longer just auditing files. You are trusted with active capital, directing tens of millions across energy grids, industrial manufacturing, and regional supply chains. At this stage, your compensation jumps to $90,000 to $140,000 a year. But your life is now tied directly to market volatility. You monitor live price feeds across Tokyo, London, and New York simultaneously. When markets drop, you have seconds to rebalance positions before your fund incurs catastrophic drawdown. The danger here is strictly algorithmic. Automated risk protocols monitor your performance every single millisecond. If your portfolio underperforms the benchmark for 2 consecutive quarters, the system automatically flags your account. Your allocation is liquidated, and your seat on the floor is handed to the next candidate. Surviving the trading floor elevates you to rank 2, the global sector director. You no longer react to markets. You shape them. You oversee hundreds of millions of dollars across entire sovereign regions. Your annual salary hits $300,000 to $500,000, backed by multi-million-dollar equity bonuses. At this rank, you negotiate behind closed boardroom doors with multinational corporations. You approve massive industrial supply lines, decide which infrastructure projects receive funding, and place proxy directors on corporate boards to enforce institutional alignment. You hold the power to starve competitors of capital with a single signature. Rank 3 brings you into the realm of mega mergers and acquisitions. At this level, individual corporate identity ceases to exist. You engineer the silent corporate buyouts that weld competing airlines, pharmaceutical giants, and media networks into single-parent conglomerates. Over 70% of consumer brands you buy are owned by the exact same institutional shareholders. The psychological toll of rank 3 is cold and absolute. Optimizing portfolio efficiency means restructuring thousands of jobs with a stroke of a pen. You eliminate entire divisions to protect quarterly dividend targets. You operate in total isolation from the human consequences of your financial balance sheets. Crossing into rank 4 makes you a global systemic risk architect. You no longer manage corporate portfolios. You monitor the stability of civilization's supply chains. You stress test what happens if maritime straits freeze, energy pipelines rupture, or sovereign debt default cascades across European and Asian markets. The difference between the bottom and this tier is scale. At the bottom, you worry about surviving until tomorrow morning. At rank 4, you earn upwards of $800,000 a year, but your models determine whether central banks must inject emergency liquidity to prevent bank runs. Reaching rank 5 brings you into the innermost vault of mega asset managers like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. As a senior vice president of asset allocation, you oversee trillions in index funds and institutional liquidity. You step into a world of non-disclosure agreements, encrypted hardware, and total operational discretion. At rank 5, you control the proxy voting power of millions of everyday retirement accounts. When shareholder votes occur across hundreds of Fortune 500 corporations, your division casts the decisive ballots. You do not need to own a company outright when you control the majority voting block of its shares. Rank 6 elevates you to economic sovereign consultant. At this stage, entire nation-states approach your firm for debt restructuring, emergency sovereign bonds, and national infrastructure modernization packages. You operate far above regular legislative politics, advising finance ministers and prime ministers behind closed doors. Then, you reach the absolute pinnacle, rank 7, the system architect. At this level, you oversee over $10 trillion in cumulative global assets. That is more than the entire gross domestic product of every country on Earth except the United States and China. You do not just participate in the economy. Your capital decisions define global energy policies, tech development, and real estate markets for the next 50 years. The financial compensation at the top is limitless, but the human price is total isolation. You trade personal privacy, normal relationships, and emotional connection for permanent systemic vigilance. You live inside an encrypted fortress of risk management, where one lapse in judgment ripples across the entire planetary financial architecture. From 16-hour shifts debugging spreadsheets in a windowless basement to steering $10 trillion of global infrastructure, the hierarchy of asset management is one of the most grueling, ruthless, and high-stakes ladders in human history. The few who survive to the very top don't just win the game, they own the board. What about you? Which rank of this silent financial hierarchy seemed the most brutal to you? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to keep exploring the hidden power scales and intense subworlds of human civilization, drop a like and subscribe to Next Level Doc for our next journey.